Ever notice how some titles just really stick? You hear the Great Emancipator, you know who we mean. But what happens when a title, a really significant one, might not be quite right?
Mm-hmm.
Today we're diving deep, I mean really deep, into a hugely important title in Islamic history. Siddiq. And, hold on to your seats, because Shia sources say this title, specifically Siddiq Akbar, the greatest truthful one, belongs only, exclusively, to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam.
That's exactly right. And in this deep dive, we're going to dissect that common attribution of Siddiq to Abu Bakr you sometimes hear about. We'll contrast it sharply with the Shia understanding, which is that Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib 𝗵 is the one and only Siddiq Akbar, full stop. We'll be looking at research like from the Light of Shia Islam YouTube channel, which does a fantastic job pulling together sources, even Sunni texts, actually.
Right, using Sunni sources to examine this. That sounds fascinating.
Oh, it is. Prepare for a few surprises, I think.
So we're like historical detectives today, digging through these accounts. Our mission, and you've basically accepted it by listening, is to figure out why, from that Shia perspective, Imam Ali alayhi salam gets this unique, massive title.
And importantly, we'll also look at the critiques against giving the title Siddiq to Abu Bakr.
And you mentioned some of that critique actually comes from within the Sunni tradition itself.
Yes, precisely. As the sources show, quite a bit of it does, which is, well, pretty revealing.
Okay. And we're going to tackle this with wisdom, but maybe a little bit of humor too. Not afraid to get into the potentially sensitive stuff.
Absolutely. These are serious topics, no doubt, but we can still approach them with a critical mind and, let's say, a bit of intellectual honesty, even if it feels a bit pointed sometimes.
All right, let's get into it then. This title, Siddiq. What does it actually mean? It's not just, like, mostly truthful, is it?
Ha! No, definitely not a participation trophy for honesty. Siddiq literally means someone who is truthful, always speaks the truth, never lies. But the Arabic form, the Siya Mubalaga, it's intensive.
Intensive how?
Think, not just truthful, but supremely truthful. Constantly unwavering. It's baked into their very being, Not just a habit, but who they are.
Okay, constant, unwavering truthfulness. That sounds... Well, it makes me think of another concept we talk about. Infallibility, 𝗔𝗵𝗆. Is there a link there?
That's a really sharp connection. Yes, the argument is definitely made that this level of absolute, persistent truthfulness, it aligns very closely with infallibility.
How so?
Well, if someone is always truthful, literally incapable of falsehood, and their actions perfectly match their words, aren't they essentially protected from error in that regard?
Okay, I see the logic.
So this line of thought suggests that the true Siddiqs are those whose whole existence resonates with truth, a very high station, which in Shia theology fits the Imams alayhim salam.
Right.
Though it's important to note this station is still considered just below that of the prophets alayhim salam. But yeah, that Shia concept of isma, divine protection from sin and error, would absolutely demand this kind of ultimate truthfulness.
Got it. So understanding that depth, who, according to the sources we're looking at, is the Siddiq Akbar, the ultimate truthful one.
From the Shia view, there's zero ambiguity. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, he alone holds the title Siddiq Akbar.
And this isn't just later followers saying this.
No. There are compelling narrations where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself explicitly gave this specific title to Imam Ali alayhi salam, a direct endorsement, you could say.
Wow. Okay. But didn't Imam Ali alayhi salam himself address this? I remember reading something about a very strong statement he made.
Oh, absolutely. A truly powerful declaration. From the pulpit in Basra, Imam Ali alayhi salam stated, quite definitively, "I am the Siddiq Akbar." And then he added the crucial part. After me, no one claims it except a kazzab.
A kazzab. What does that mean exactly?
It means a liar, but not just any liar, a tremendous liar, a great liar. It's incredibly forceful language.
Yeah, no kidding. Tremendous liar. That's putting it mildly. He wasn't messing around.
Not at all. It's a line in the sand. And it wasn't just about the title in isolation. He also pointed to his history, right? His precedence in Islam.
What did he say about that?
Imam Ali alayhi salam reportedly emphasized that he believed and submitted to Islam a full 7 years before others. 7 years.
Wow.
Think about that context. The very beginning, that points to an early, deep, unwavering commitment to the truth right from the start. He was there before almost everyone.
That does add weight.
Yeah.
And wasn't there also a narration about 3 Siddiqs? Where does Imam Ali alayhi salam fit into that?
Yes, there is. It's found in various sources, actually, including some Sunni ones. It names 3 Siddiqs: Habib al-Najjar from the people of Yasin, Hiskil, or Ezekiel, the believer among Pharaoh's people,
Okay.
and Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And significantly, the narration often specifies that Imam Ali alayhi salam is the most virtuous of the 3.
So even in that company, he's singled out as the top Siddiq.
Precisely. Acknowledging others, but affirming his supreme position in that quality, like naming the all-stars, but then pointing out the MVP.
Okay, so the Shia perspective is crystal clear. Ali alayhi salam is the Siddiq Akbar. But let's shift gears a bit, because as we mentioned, sometimes you hear the title Siddiq applied to Abu Bakr. What's the deal there?
Right. So there have definitely been attempts to give that title to Abu Bakr. Often it's tied to certain narrations, especially ones about the Miraj, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, night journey and ascension.
Okay, so there are stories linking him to the title.
There are stories, yes, but, and this is a rather significant but, this is where things get, well, let's just say ironic.
I like irony. Go on.
Well, it turns out that many very prominent Sunni hadith scholars, using their own rigorous methods, have looked at these specific narrations, the ones used to call Abu Bakr Siddiq, and they've classified them as fabricated, maduat, made up.
Wait, hold on. Sunni scholars said the narrations used in their own tradition to call Abu Bakr Siddiq are fabrications.
That's exactly it. These aren't Shia critics saying this. These are major figures within Sunni hadith scholarship applying their own rules of authentication.
Who are we talking about? Could you name some names?
Oh, absolutely. Big names. Ibn al-Jawzi, al-Haythami, Ibn Hibban, al-Dahabi, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Ibn Kathir. The list goes on. Giants in the field.
And why did they reject these narrations?
Generally, the reasons involve unreliable narrators in the chain of transmission. People known to be weak, maybe even known liars, or just prone to making things up. It's like having a witness whose testimony is thrown out because they've perjured themselves before.
So the very basis for the claim is rejected by respected scholars within the tradition it comes from.
Precisely. That's the irony. The foundation is shaky. According to their own experts, it's built on sand, or maybe even less than sand. Fabricated stories.
That's kind of mind-blowing, actually. It completely changes the picture.
It does, and brings us right back to Imam Ali's alayhi salam statement, doesn't it? If he says anyone claiming Siddiq Akbar after him is a kazab, and the evidence for Abu Bakr having even the basic Siddiq title is deemed fabricated by Sunni authorities.
Well, it certainly makes you look at the claim very, very differently.
It raises very serious questions about the legitimacy of attributing that title to Abu Bakr at all.
Okay, so let's go back to that word Imam Ali alayhi salam used, 𝗂𝗵, tremendous liar. Taking the Shia perspective and remembering his warning, what specific things point towards Abu Bakr potentially fitting that description? Let's start with Fadak. That always comes up.
Yes, the Fadak dispute is absolutely central. Fatima, salamullahi alayha, the Prophet's sallallahu alaihi wasallam own daughter, she clearly stated that her father had gifted her the land of Fadak while he was alive.
And this wasn't just her word against his.
No, there are historical accounts, like from 𝗿𝗵 supporting this. She argued her case, presented her claim based on it being a gift.
But Abu Bakr disagreed. He brought up a hadith.
He did. He countered her claim by narrating a hadith himself, saying, "We, the community of prophets, do not leave inheritance. Whatever we leave behind is charity." And based solely on that narration, which he relayed, he denied her claim to Fadak.
But Fatima, salamullahi alayha, she wasn't one to just, back down when she knew she was right. What was her response? She used the Quran, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely. She presented incredibly strong arguments. She cited verses directly from the Holy Quran about inheritance, Surah Al-Anfal, Surah An-Nisa, verses that clearly show relatives inheriting.
Seems like a direct contradiction to his hadith.
It does, and she pointed that out. She reportedly asked him, logically, how he could inherit from his father, but she, the Prophet's, the ﷺ daughter, couldn't inherit from hers.
Ooh, that's a powerful point.
And she didn't stop there. She accused him, quite directly, of fabricating a great lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, accusing the caliph of lying against God. That's incredibly serious.
A great lie. Wow. And weren't there other inconsistencies? Like, didn't the Prophet ﷺ wives inherit their houses?
Exactly. That's another major point. The fact that the Prophet ﷺ wives kept their residences clearly contradicted the idea that prophets leave no inheritance whatsoever. It made the rule seem selective.
So it wasn't applied consistently.
It appears not. And critically, Fatima, 𝗪 never accepted his narration or his ruling.
Right.
Sources like Sahih Bukhari even record her anger and displeasure with him over this until her death. Her rejection speaks volumes.
Okay, that's Fatima's 𝗪 perspective.
Yeah.
But what about Imam Ali, alayhi salam? What did you think about how Abu Bakr handled this? Is there anything in, say, Sunni sources about his view?
Yes, and this is perhaps one of the most striking pieces of evidence found in Sahih Muslim, no less.
Sahih Muslim. Okay, what does it say?
It recounts a conversation reported by Umar ibn al-Khattab. He describes Imam Ali alayhi salam and Abbas, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, uncle, coming to discuss the Prophet's sallallahu alaihi wasallam estate, including fadak. And in that context, Umar reports that Ali alayhi salam and Abbas viewed Abu Bakr as, and this is the direct quote, 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗵 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗵,
Which means?
a liar, sinful, treacherous, and dishonest.
Whoa. In Sahih Muslim, Imam Ali alayhi salam considered Abu Bakr a liar, sinful, treacherous, and dishonest regarding the inheritance.
That's what the narration reported by Umar states directly in one of the most authoritative Sunni collections.
Potent. Potent is an understatement. That's damning. And you mentioned other contradictions too, even in Abu Bakr's own statements about inheritance.
Yes, there's a strange inconsistency. On the one hand, he narrates the no inheritance hadith. But then, according to narrations in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal and other sources, there's an account of a conversation where he seems to speak to Fatima, salamullahi alayha, acknowledging her family as the heirs.
So he says prophets don't leave inheritance, but then talks to the prophets, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, daughter as if her family are the heirs.
It certainly appears contradictory, yes. It undermines the very hadith he used as the basis for his ruling on fadak. It's hard to reconcile those two positions.
Okay, fadak is one major area. What about the claim to leadership itself? The successorship, the wilaya. How does that fit into Imam Ali's alayhi salam warning about the kazab?
Well, Abu Bakr claimed the position of wali, the successor, the guardian, after Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Right, the first caliph.
But from the Shia perspective, this directly clashes with numerous explicit statements from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam appointing Imam Ali alayhi salam as his successor. Most famously, of course, at Ghadir Qum.
The Ghadir Declaration.
Exactly, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam declared, 𝗪 𝗔𝗹𝗆, indeed, he, Ali, is your guardian after me. For Shias, this is definitive.
So if Ali alayhi salam was the designated successor,
then Abu Bakr claiming that position could be seen as claiming something that wasn't rightfully his. An untruthful claim in a matter of huge religious significance, potentially aligning with that description of kazab, claiming a divinely appointed role meant for another.
And things got personal too, didn't they? There are reports of some very harsh words used against Fatima salamullahi alayha.
Sadly, yes. Our sources mention reports like those cited by Ibn Abil Hadid, alleging that Abu Bakr used extremely derogatory language towards Fatima salamullahi alayha, even calling her a female fox.
A female fox. Towards the Prophet's sallallahu alaihi wasallam daughter.
It's shocking when you consider her immense status. Mistress of the women of paradise, mistress of the women of the world, titles found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim.
And her truthfulness was renowned, right?
Absolutely. Aisha is reported saying she'd never met anyone more truthful except her father, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's an mustadrak. So to attack and belittle such a figure, known for her unparalleled truthfulness,
it reflects badly on the attacker's own commitment to truth.
Precisely. It suggests a disregard for truth itself when it's inconvenient.
And these criticisms weren't just coming from later Shia sources or even just from Ali alayhi salam and Fatima salamullahi alayha.
Yeah.
There were critiques from closer to home, weren't there?
Yes, quite significantly. Abu Bakr's own son, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr.
His son. What does he say?
According to sources like the Sharnaj al-Balagha, he strongly condemned his father and Umar. He saw them as working against Islam, as enemies of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Wow.
And in a letter to Muawiyah, he explicitly calls Imam Ali alayhi salam the rightful heir of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the son rejecting the father's legitimacy.
That's powerful. Any others?
Well, there's also a reported admission from 𝗬𝗵𝗆 himself, certainly no friend to Imam Ali alayhi salam, later on acknowledging that Abu Bakr was the first one to usurp Imam Ali alayhi salam, right? Also found in Sharnaj al-Balagha.
So even while we admitted it started with Abu Bakr.
According to that report, yes. These internal critiques from people right there involved in the events add another layer of doubt to the standard narrative.
Okay, finally, let's talk theology. How serious is lying in Islam, especially for someone claiming leadership?
It's incredibly serious. Foundational, really. There's a famous hadith referenced in Mustadrak al-Wasail and Bihar al-Anwar, where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ explicitly says a believer cannot be a liar. He links lying directly to a lack of faith.
A believer cannot be a liar.
Cannot be. And the Quran itself, Surah An-Nahl, verse 105, it is only those who do not believe who fabricate falsehood.
So the Quran links fabricating lies directly to disbelief.
Yes. So if the actions and claims attributed to Abu Bakr denying Fatima's, salamullahi alayha, right, based on a contested hadith, claiming walaya against Qadir, the alleged insults, if these are seen as untruthful, as the Shia perspective argues, drawing on these various sources, then the theological implications based on the Quran and hadith are profound, especially for someone considered the first caliph.
Okay, wow. We covered a lot. The meaning of Siddiq, Imam Ali's alayhi salam, unique claim as Siddiq Akbar, the shaky ground for the Abu Bakr attribution, and, well, a catalog of reasons why, from this perspective, Imam Ali's alayhi salam term kazab might seem fitting. Let's zoom out a bit now. What about the deeper symbolism here?
Yeah.
And maybe the unwisdom of it all?
Right. If we go back to that idea that Siddiq implies something close to isma, infallibility, it suggests a spiritual purity, a connection to truth that's way beyond just not telling fibs.
It's a whole different level.
Exactly. Think about the tradition that only a Siddiq could perform the ritual washing, the ghusl, for a Siddiqa like Fatima salamullahi alayha. That points to a spiritual compatibility, a level of purity that's not ordinary.
So claiming that title, Siddiq, especially Siddiq Akbar, without actually possessing that divinely protected state,
would be more than just inaccurate. It could be seen as a huge spiritual misstep, maybe even a kind of arrogance or self-delusion.
And Imam Ali's alayhi salam statement in Basra, after me, none claims it but a kazab. It hangs over everything, doesn't it? It's like a measuring stick.
It truly is. If you accept Imam Ali's alayhi salam station, his truthfulness, his wisdom, then that statement becomes a crucial benchmark. The controversies we've discussed regarding Abu Bakr, the Faidak issue, the Walaya claim, the Sahih Muslim narration, they all provide the context for why, according to Ali's alayhi salam own words, claiming that title could be seen as that tremendous lie. It's blunt, it's direct, and it demands reflection.
And we have to circle back to this because it's so striking. The fact that Sunni scholars themselves rejected the key narrations supporting Abu Bakr's claim to the title.
Yes, it bears repeating. This isn't just an external critique. It leverages the findings of respected Sunni hadith critics applying their own methodology to their own traditions. That internal rejection significantly weakens the foundation of the claim.
So when you put it all together, Imam Ali's alayhi salam clear statement, the controversies, the questionable hadiths, the internal critiques, claiming the title Siddiq in that context
could certainly be viewed as, well, unwise, a serious lack of judgment perhaps, given the gravity of the title and the very clear, very strong counter-arguments and warnings.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, what's the final takeaway on Siddiq and these competing claims?
Well, I think our discussion really underscores the Shia conviction. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is the one and only Siddiq Akbar. That title was given to him by the Prophet ﷺ, declared his alone by Imam Ali alayhi salam himself, and came with that stark warning about future claimants. The evidence we've looked at, from various angles, including those Sunni scholarly critiques, strongly supports this exclusivity.
And the process really highlights the need to look beyond just titles, doesn't it? To examine the actions, the words, the contradictions.
Absolutely. We really encourage you, the listeners, to engage critically with these histories. Don't just accept narratives at face value. Compare the claims to the actions, look for inconsistencies, weigh the evidence from different sources, and, contrast the controversies surrounding Abu Bakr with the generally acknowledged integrity and truthfulness of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
Okay, so here's our final thought, something for you to chew on after this. What does it really mean? What are the implications if we accept historical titles and stories without rigorously checking the sources, checking the character of the people involved? especially when those stories clash directly with explicit statements from figures who are held in the absolute highest regard, like Imam Ali alayhi salam.
It's a question that goes way beyond just this one title, doesn't it?
It really does. It's about how we approach our history, our faith, and who we choose to follow and revere. It really calls for ongoing critical thought about the narratives we inherit.
O God, bless Muhammad and Muhammad's household and replace for me the animosity of the people of hatred with love, the envy of the people of insolence with affection, the suspicion of the people of righteousness with trust, the enmity of those close with friendship, the disrespect of womb relatives with devotion, the abandonment of relatives with help, the attachment of flatterers with love set right, the rejection of fellows with generous friendliness, and the bitterness of the fear of wrongdoers with the sweetness of security. O God, bless Muhammad and his household, appoint for me a hand against him who wrongs me, a tongue against him who disputes with me, and a victory over him who stubbornly resists me. Give me guile against him who schemes against me, power over him who oppresses me, refutation of him who reviles me, and safety from him who threatens me. O God, bless Muhammad and his household, and point me straight to resist him who is dishonest toward me with good counsel, repay him who separates from me with gentle devotion, reward him who deprives me with free giving, recompense him who cuts me off with joining, oppose him who slanders me with excellent mention, give thanks for good, and shut my eyes to evil. O God, bless Muhammad and his household, adorn me with the adornment of the righteous, and clothe me in the ornaments of the God-fearing, through spreading justice, restraining rage, quenching the flame of hate, bringing together the people of separation, correcting discord, spreading about good behavior, covering faults, mildness of temper, lowering the wing, beauty of conduct, gravity of bearing, agreeableness in comportment, precedence in reaching excellence, preferring bounteousness, refraining from condemnation, bestowing bounty on the undeserving, speaking the truth, though it be painful, making little of the good in my words and deeds, though it be much, and making much of the evil in my words and deeds, though it be little,